Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Muskan, and welcome everybody to the book summary of the Readers and Debaters Toastmasters Club. Reading books is one of the key highlights of our club, and all the members, we cherish it. We read, we learn, and we share the wisdom and nuggets from these books. Today, we are going to talk about this book, which is Man's Search for Meaning by the author Viktor Frankl. And this book was the book of the month for the month of October, which a lot of members read. So thank you so much for that. Now to get started with it, um, Man's Search for Meaning is basically written by the author Viktor Frankl, who is a professor of psychology. And um, what happened during the Second World War is there were a lot of Jews who were sent to concentration camps, which we all know, and a lot of people were able to survive that period as well. But this person, the author, uh, went to the concentration camp for 3 years, and not only he survived, but he also captured the key essence of what keeps a human being going. To deep dive, before deep diving into the book, I would want to ask you a question. What do you all think if a human is not given enough food, um, and compared to that, if a human has lost all hopes of his life, which one is more dangerous or fatal for his life? You can just type it in the chat. Is it the food, or is it the hope for survival? You can just write food or survival in the chat box. Thank you so much. I can see a lot of inputs coming in. Hope for survival, hope. Few people think food. Great. So these are some of the questions which has been analyzed in this book, in this psychological book by the author. Um, so I will give the answer towards the end of the session. But before that, I would want to share four key ideas or the discoveries which author has made and revealed in this book. The first one is he talks about anything can happen to us. Anything, it can be good, bad. But one thing which we have the power is to respond to that event. And that is the freedom to choose whether we have a good feeling about that event, or we are annoyed, or we are depressed with that uh, event. So that is the idea number one. And when I was reading this chapter, I also thought about the book by the title is The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. In that book also, the author talks about being proactive, which means something happens to you. Now, you need to be more proactive towards that instead of reacting to what is happening to your life. For example, if you are stuck in traffic jam, either you get your mood is off and you reach home and you are not in a good mood, or you can use that time to maybe read some book or attend Toastmaster session. So, and then you make your entire travel worthwhile, and like that was the best travel of your day, right? So it's your reaction, uh, how you deal with it. So what anything can happen to us in our life. It can be good, bad. You can be sent to a jail. But one thing which nobody can take from you is your ability to choose your response. This was a profound idea which I captured from this book. That is the first idea. The second idea which the author talks about is we all are born to fulfill some mission. Now, what happens is a lot of us are still trying to find what is the mission of my life. And it's not that humans don't want to I mean, humans don't want a tensionless state. They want to reach to that goal and they are ready to work for it. So this is the current state and this is the ideal state. Now there is a gap between from current state to ideal state. And this is the tension. So the author says it's not that humans just want a peaceful life and without any aim or achievement. No, all humans, they want to achieve something, but they don't know how to go there. So everybody is in the search of that one purpose. And the moment he or she finds that purpose or that meaning of his life, the entire energy comes and he is able to achieve that purpose. So this also resonates well with the other book which we read earlier, which was The Alchemist, in which there's a famous dialogue even in Bollywood that once you want to achieve something with your heart and mind, the entire universe conspires to help you achieve that, right? So that is the second takeaway from this book. And I would just read out the actual sentence which is written in the book. It says, what man actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather striving and struggling for a goal worth for him. What he needs is not the discharge of tension at any cost, but a call of the potential meaning waiting to be fulfilled by him. So that is the second takeaway from the book. Now, after I said that, does this thought elicit any stories or any similar thoughts in your minds? You can use the chat box and share with us so that we can also chew and think over those kind of things which happen to us. I'll wait for a few seconds.
I think from the same book, I can share one thing, which is I just can't forget. So the author said he has along with the other his friends who are there in the camp, they shifted from one place to another, and everyone noticed the first thing and they felt happy. Just imagine what was that thing. There was no gas chambers. So their state was such that they were ready to bear all other pains, but they were happy to know that they will not get killed immediately. And that was the happiest moment the author described in the entire his time he spent in that camp. So I feel something which is taken, that the way we keep on fighting or trying to dishearten ourselves with our own thoughts and processes. Something I don't have so many things. See, the other person is doing. See, the state of the mind is depend on so many things. And if you really introspect, you have everything. If a person can be happy in his own, in that state, you have all the reasons to be happy and find your own inner strength and your own purpose of life. And I was really got touched by that particular part of the book. Thank you, and thanks for being chosen this book for the discussion, Abhinav.
Absolutely, and just one more example from the book itself. So the author talks about his time in the camp, and he saw his friend sleeping in the night, and he had a dream. His friend had a dream, and it was a nightmare. So Victor could feel that this guy is having a nightmare. So he thought, should I wake him up so that he'll be relieved? But then he stops his hand because he realizes that the reality is worse than the worst nightmare. So he let him sleep in that nightmare because he thought that the nightmare still is better than the reality. And that is the tool which the author uses when he talks about man's search for meaning. So whatever is happening in the camp, he had a meaning in his mind, which was a very strong meaning, that I have to go back and meet my wife. I have to write a book about these experiences so that humanity learns something out of it. He had that meaning, and that's why he was able to persist. And the second thing which I spoke about was that they were not getting food. I mean, they used to get one piece of bread every day and some soup. And with that bread, the entire people, all of them were surviving. But some people just ate the bread and some people kept it in the pocket and they were just nibbling one piece at a time. So there were two schools of thought. We get food, we should eat it, or we get food and we keep it with that hope that whenever I'm really hungry, I'll eat it. So these were the kind of psychological schools of thought which were being debated in those camps. So it's quite dark and deep in the middle of the books. So thank you so much, Nivedita. That was a second idea. The third takeaway from the book is author talks about the success must ensue from your commitment to do something bigger. You cannot pursue success. It will happen to you. Another example which he says is, can you target happiness in your life? Can you say that, okay, this is happiness and I have to do these three things and I'll be happy? No, you do things and then happiness happens to you. Similarly, once you have a target, you do something which is really big beyond yourself and you take action towards that, then success will happen to you. And you just keep taking action towards that larger than life goal. And on the way, success will keep on happening. So you don't need to chase success, rather it will ensue. That is the third point. And I would like to quote two sentences which I loved when I was reading the book. So Viktor Frankl says, again and again, I therefore admonish my students when I teach them across Europe and America to not aim at success. The more you aim at it, make it a target, the more you are going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued, it must ensue. And it only does so as an unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than himself. I just loved this sentence, so I just wrote it down to share with all of you. So fair enough. So that is the idea number 3. And the final idea is, idea number 4 is, anyone who has a strong enough why can endure almost any how. So it's like a very short sentence, but very deep. And when our author was in the camp, he saw that a lot of healthy people were there. I mean, prisoners. There were different type of prisoners: healthy, weak, lean, fat. A lot of healthy prisoners who were very strong. And he thought, this guy is mentally so strong. He's definitely going to endure these 3 years. But they were the first one who either lost their lives or they gave in to the pressures. So they went and jumped from somewhere, or they just ended their life. Whereas the other people who were mentally very strong, they had a why to live for. Those were the ones who were, even if they got a piece of bread, they were ready to not eat it because hunger was not that important. I mean, they had a why to live for, and they are ready to do anything. So they found their own ways. You will find your own how. For example, personally, I was 100 kgs. I wanted to run. I started running. Everybody said, "You are so fat, Abhinav. Watch your knees. Watch your knees. Your knees will break." But if you have a why, I had a why to why I want to run. I figured out multiple ways to run, and I ended up reaching where I wanted, and then happiness ensued, as I mentioned the earlier point. So, giving his personal example, when he saw what's happening in the camp, he wanted to write a book to note down what is happening inside the minds, what is happening to people. People, healthy people are dying, weak people are surviving, and even if you give, it's not, and people are dying not because of food. They had food, but still they were dying. But it was the why, or the hope which kept them alive. For example, in his own case, he wanted to go back and meet his wife. He wanted to write a book so that the entire humanity learns from what happens to a person when he is in a deep adversity, and what are those 2 or 3 things which a human should stick on to. For example, point number 1, anything can happen to us. I was in Delhi. My elder brother was down with COVID. Harsh knows it, right? I used to talk to Harsh every day. Anything can happen to my brother, or all of us. But it is during those adversities, what are the key nuggets of wisdom in your mind which will keep you alive? So those are the key takeaways of this book. So I'll summarize. First one is, anything can happen to us, but it is one thing which is in our control is our freedom to choose our response. Second idea, we all are born with a mission to fulfill. Okay, and we have to search that meaning in our life so that we can be creative and we can become leaders. That is a point number, idea 2. Idea 3 is, success cannot be pursued. It will ensue. And it will ensue when you found your meaning, you're working towards it. Just keep working, take action, keep taking action, and success will keep happening to you. You don't need to chase it. Success will chase you. And the final 4th point is, anyone who has a why, strong enough why, he or she will discover his own how. You don't need to tell him. He will figure it out. So these are the 4 points. Coming back to the question which I asked you guys in the beginning, that food or hope. So as per the author, he says he read so many science books, and he says these books lie. A science book says, don't give food to a human for 1 week, he will die. And he says, I have practical evidence that without food, people were surviving. In that Poland, Europe cold, without blanket, people were still able to sleep. And he was saying, in my house, somebody is playing a radio and I have disturbance, I can't sleep. He was saying there, people were having such deep sleep, even if they were hungry. So he says all the books, science books say lie. And what he figured out is, if you have a why to live for, that is the most important thing. With that, I would want to end today's book summary. We can have some question answers for next 7-8 minutes. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Muskan.